Do you ever lay in bed at night full of energy and just think to yourself, tomorrow I'm going to be an adult and I'm going to get things done? But then tomorrow comes and you don't. Maybe you psych yourself up and think to yourself that I'm going to tackle that task that I've been putting off forever. But when it comes down to it, you put it off again. You might be suffering from procrastination. But what if I tell you you don't have to suffer from it? No. Before you get too excited, I'm not here to tell you how to stop procrastinating. Wait, what? Yeah, this isn't exactly that type of video. Hello everyone and welcome or welcome back. I put the L in Elscapades and today I'm also going to put the pro in procrastination. Was that too cringe? Don't tell me. Now, if you're anything at all like me, first of all, I am so sorry for you. Second of all, this isn't the first time you've tried to stop procrastinating, but hopefully it will be the last. Because I've tried that and I've failed way too many times. From my experience, procrastinating is like an unstoppable force. And I don't know about you, but I'm not exactly an immovable object. Combine that with my crippling perfectionist tendencies, which is a whole nother video in itself, and you get endeavors that never see the light of day. Kind of like this YouTube video. But thankfully, I've learned a thing or five about learning to roll with procrastination and sometimes even embrace it. All of which I'm going to share with you today. The first tip is to recognize why you're procrastinating. Look, you're not going to be able to find the best solution if you don't even know what the problem is. If you're genuinely tired, and I'm including physically, mentally, emotionally, the whole spectrum, then you have to give yourself breathing room. This is where what I call the soft side of self-care comes in. It's where you do the things that help you relax and recharge yourself. Whether that's a bath, a sit-down meal, or reading for fun, give yourself one night to lean into the procrastination instead of beating yourself up for it. Look, you can't give a task 100% if you're at 0%. Use this time to organize your thoughts and sort out your priorities. Give yourself a chance to think instead of rushing into things like you're racing against a timer. Even if it may not seem like it, chances are high that you can afford to slow things down and think. Although it is important to realize that there's a difference between slowing down to enjoy things in life and coming to a complete standstill. You have to realize that the urge to procrastinate usually, although not always, comes from other underlying issues such as tiredness, stress, or fear. This is your brain telling you that not everything is peachy and you might want to address those issues. Okay, what if it's a task itself that's stressing you out? Well, that's a little trickier. But it does lead me to my second tip, which is to prioritize. I get it. Some tasks are stressful, whether that's doing your taxes, doing the dishes, or making that phone call to set up that dentist appointment that you've been putting off. When we were young, no one wanted to admit to us that being a fully functioning adult is stressful. And so now we grow up thinking that the problem is us. So now we're stressed and discouraged. And of course, all we want to do is procrastinate, which makes it even worse. Being a responsible adult is normal, so it should be easy, right? No. Normal is not equivalent to easy. But things still need to get done, and this is where the hard side of self-care comes in. Yeah, doing chores that you don't like to do is also a part of self-care that no one likes to talk about. You probably don't see or hear this a lot because I get it. It's hard to make paying bills and doing laundry and getting your wisdom teeth pulled out with no surgery look aesthetic. This is where prioritizing comes in, and here's a free hot tip. You don't have to do everything all at once. Remember that time you gave yourself to recharge and sort out your priorities? Break those down into bite-sized commitments. Or fun size, like those small candies that you get at the store, although I never really understood what makes those small sizes so fun. Sharing size, now that's fun. Ask yourself, do I need to do all the dishes, or can I just put away the clean ones for now? Maybe I could just wash dishes and cutlery for now, and I can leave the pots and pans for later. Most days, after I finish a small part of the task, I realize, you know what, I do have the energy to keep going. And then there's days that I give myself 30 minutes of procrastinating, I mean recharging, after about 5 minutes of doing a chore. But small progress is better than no progress. Now, what if you're not tired or stressed, but just lazy? But for some reason or another, Chores need to get done immediately, and so you need to go from procrastinating to productive real quick. Well, that leads me to my third trick, which is trick yourself. Because you're a dumbass, but in a good way. Don't underestimate how a good playlist can change the whole vibe. Turn the chore of doing dishes into a mini party of one, and guess what? You're the VIP. If you're feeling overwhelmed at the thought of wasting an entire weekend cleaning your whole house, give your dumb little self an offer you can't refuse. Instead of dedicating 2 whole days to cleaning your whole house, stick to half a day at first and commit to just one room and see how you feel after that. Once you're done with that one room, take a break, chill, and if you want to keep going, keep going. But if not, tell yourself that's it and you have next week to tackle a different room. Hype yourself up too. Just because something is a chore doesn't mean it has to feel like one. And if all that perkiness wasn't for you, I get it. If you're like me and you need a little bit of gloom and tough love, I got you. If you need to declutter out your closet, empty everything out onto your bed or your couch. Make it inconvenient for future you to be lazy. If you want the reward of being able to relax, then present you better work for it. Same trick works for folding laundry. Make it inconvenient for future you to just be lazy. You can also test out my tried and true method for tricking myself into working out. See, I'm well aware that I'm not coherent or even fully human most mornings, and so the first thing I do when I wake up on workout days is to get myself into workout clothes. I lay out my yoga mat and just start. By the time I'm fully awake, I'm already sweaty and gross. So I may as well just keep going, and it is spite that keeps me going and seeing my workout through the end. After all, I'm going to have to wash these sweaty workout clothes anyway, so I may as well finish sweating in them. Admittedly, that last one might be a little too close to a productivity hack, but we all know that life doesn't slow down when we want it to or just when we do. Okay, well, now what if the task itself is intimidating? Well, good news, I have 2 tips left just for you. My fourth tip is to go around your problem. I don't know about you, but I've realized that most of the time that I want to procrastinate, it's because I'm intimidated by the task. Again, I am not at all an immovable object, so instead of doing the obvious and tackling the task head on, I go around it. The reality is that tasks that we feel intimidated by always look or feel bigger than they actually are. This is because our fears are usually small things that stack up and combine into this huge, daunting thing. Let's take me for an example. I've actually been toying with the idea of making a YouTube channel for the longest time, and I've also been procrastinating on that for longer than I like to admit. But it did give me time to specifically think about why it intimidated me. My reasons include, but aren't limited to, 1 is being camera shy. 2 is I'm an introvert, so I don't know what to talk about. 3rd is I've never edited a video in my life. 4th, I thought I was too old to be doing YouTube, and that problem actually got worse every year that I procrastinated. 5th, it's bad enough telling my very Asian extended family that I'm an art major, and then I want to add content creator or even influencer on top of that. Oof. Not that the last point in itself is a bad thing, but if you know anything about Asian culture and their views on what are acceptable jobs to have, well, if you know, you know. If not, let me know in the comments down below and I'll see if I can make a future video out of that mental and emotional mountain. Okay, back to my point. How did I get around all of that? Long story short, I ended up making a Twitch account and streamed myself playing video games instead. It was absolutely great for a time because 1, I didn't really need to have my face in it if I really didn't want to, and 2, obviously me playing a video game was an easy starting point to talk to my audience. There was no video editing necessary, and for some reason, age felt less important in Twitch. It wasn't entirely logical, but there we go. And if any of my friends and family ask why I was doing it, I just call it a pandemic hobby. Look, I procrastinated, no ifs and or buts about that. But honestly, the whole experience made me feel that all the fears that I listed above weren't as big of a deal as I first thought they were. I did it, it's there, and I didn't spontaneously combust from fear or shame or embarrassment or any of the things that I thought would happen. So here I am, months later, that's for sure, but I finally got around to recording a video and actually learning how to edit on the go. Now, for my 5th and final tip, which may come as a surprise to most of you, 5th is to procrastinate. You heard that right. Remember a few minutes ago when I said learn to embrace it? Yeah, we're really doing that. Now, the trick to this trick is to be conscious about how we procrastinate. That's right, we are going to procrastinate productively. Personally speaking, I found that I've had some of my better and more creative ideas while I'm procrastinating. Because here's the thing, even though I'm not doing anything actively, I'm still thinking about what it is I'm procrastinating about. I'm letting my mind wander and think about what my goals and priorities are, so that when I actually sit down and do it, I have a much clearer direction in mind. Granted, that is a conscious choice that I make instead of, say, procrastinating by mindlessly going through my social media and numbing my brain to anything and everything. So if you're nothing like me overall, good for you. But the bad news for you is that you're going to have to work on this, and it will be hard and it can be mentally exhausting. I get it. It's a lot easier to mindlessly scroll on social media instead of thinking and planning about what you're going to do. But remember what I said in the first tip, that there's a difference between slowing down and coming to a standstill? Remember, the goal is to roll with the procrastination and maybe even use it to your advantage. This video is not about letting procrastination take control of your life while you chill in the backseat. Life isn't only made up of big choices. It also includes the little daily choices that we make. I'm going to use myself as an example again. When I'm stuck on a script, I say screw it and go do the dishes instead. Or really, I do any chore that lets my mind wander and think through my problems, while I essentially rely on muscle memory and go on autopilot. That beats sitting on my phone looking at the same things on social media, or sitting in front of my computer and staring at a blank document page. Alternatively, when I've been editing all day and I'm tired and all I want to do is be lazy or call it quits, and I want to tell myself that B-roll doesn't add any value to my videos, I get off my ass and do chores instead, so that I'm able to recharge my creativity. Ultimately, it comes down to not just time management, but also your mindset. Those two factors are, I think, a lot more manageable and easier to change than the insidious urge to procrastinate. If you're going to procrastinate anyway, change how you do it in a way that benefits you. What I hope you take away from this is that procrastination doesn't have to be this evil, insurmountable thing. It might always have a negative connotation with most people, but that doesn't mean you can't find ways around it or even turn it to your advantage. Or at the very least, let it lead you down a path you weren't expecting, like my short-lived career as a Twitch streamer. That was it, and thank you for watching. Hopefully after this video, you too can put the pro in procrastination. Okay, I promise that was my last cheesy line. Unless you're into that, in which case hit the like button for you and for me. That lets me know that you too like it a little bit cheesy. Finally, if you just want to hear more about why I started and stopped Twitch, let me know in the comments down below and I might make a future video out of it. Until next time, bye! I'll put that in the end of the bloopers. I'm not here to tell you how to stop procrastinating. Hype yourself up too, because just because it's... What I hope you take away from this is that... I gotta pee.